Let's put it that way. But you make a really good point, I think, Pratik, about I never thought about it this way. Is there a psychological profile of who's more likely to go for long shots versus just kind of steady the course and look for conventional wisdom money, I guess, or trying to find the right balance in between? Because, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll try to put some money on long shots sometimes, but more than likely, I'm looking for things that are about 40, 50, 60 that I think are going to, have some upside to it. I don't do a whole lot of like, how can I get 10 times my money? Not in elections, at least, maybe back when tweeting was around, but that's a good thing to think about.
It's so funny that in this game, you like wind up like a real investor on Wall Street is going to have some highly specialized niche that they're just better than the market in. And you find yourself in the same position here where you're like, I'm like really good at, this like executive order markets between 60 and 70 cents, or, legislative branch markets between, you just turn into that guy. Pratik, I think that the point you're making is one of those interesting, like very small points that actually says a lot about the character of politics, because, you and I have both worked for the Republican Party for meaningful periods of our lives. And like, I remember it being a party of winners, it was like, Ronald Reagan and Jack Kemp and, being whatever that like grandiose vision of entrepreneurs and commerce and strength. It is a party of losers now, which is why all the smart people are betting their money in smart places and they're not betting on Republicans. And all the dumb people are betting their dumb money in dumb places. And they probably are. I mean, it's just like, we're not a party that attracts people who are smart and successful right now. And I think that that's just one of many examples to illustrate that.
Oh, I completely agree. And I mean, I was going to bring up too, like the popular vote margin. I also think the blowout Democratic markets here are underpriced too. And I think one of the reasons, as you say, is that I think there's a lot of thinking that, well, if the polls are showing Biden up 7, 8, or 9 or whatever, that the actual margin will be narrow. But I think what they're not taking into account is the fact, and Isavage made the point earlier, a lot of money will have to be spent on ground game and so forth. If you just look at the talent and the quality of people who are involved with the Biden camp or the campaign, the donors, the fundraisers, people in the media, I think if you were looking at like the 2000 election or the 2004 election, I mean, you could basically kind of bet with the assumption that the political talent on the Bush campaign was roughly comparable to what Kerry had or what Al Gore had. I mean, I don't think you can make that assumption today in 2020. I think that whatever the polls say, I think you have to assume that the Biden campaign and the Democratic infrastructure writ large just has much more talented people, like you say, the winners in society basically behind them. So I'm inclined to think Biden's actually going to outperform expectations a little bit for that reason.
But you're missing one thing. Because the quality of the political talent at the top of the ticket, I think, is better on Trump's side. I mean, I don't think he's going to win, but I think that, like, not to be a cliche, but which one's selling out stadiums and which one's, like, if he doesn't crap his pants on live TV, people are like, he did a good job.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, man, that's Kiss versus, I don't know. There's some good analogy there about some band that's good that doesn't fill up stadiums that would probably sell more albums too. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
Trump is Kiss, and you got a niche, but
politics is selling to stupid people.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I think what's funny is you guys just got done bashing your side, and I'll bash my side a little bit, or even posit a
right. We're all on the same
here
side.
Is the one thing I think that Trump campaign is doing that is going to make a difference is looking a little bit more on how to flood the zone in the social media and digital space versus I think Biden's still maybe over reliant on TV ads. And I think that if Trump has any kind of chance whatsoever, I think what his success would have shown is making these counties that go 75, 80 Republican, getting turnout in those counties to go way, way up because they've somehow turned that into like a cultural event that we're all going to vote on this day. We didn't vote in 2016. We didn't vote in 2018. But we're voting this time because I'm hit on Facebook every day with ads. I'm hit on every time I go on YouTube, whatever it might be. So I think that Biden's catching up there, but Trump has been in that zone for, since the day he got inaugurated. So that's something that does make me, wonder if they are going to kind of supercharge turnout. I don't know.
It's fascinating too, because you're hitting on another one of those like itty bitty things that I think says a lot. So I looked at the Times Siena polls, and one of the more interesting things was like Republicans will not vote by mail, if you believe those polls. I mean, it's insane. It's like Minnesota, 12% said they'd vote by mail versus 80 on the day. Like Wisconsin, 15 versus 73. Like maybe it's just a resistance to any type of cultural or any type of political change as being suspicious, or maybe it's what you're talking about with Trump just like being in their ears so hard.